sympathise with Kate's humanitarian ethics and I empathise with them, but this is not about us getting out of Europe, and this evening is about us getting out of Europe. Europe is a continent made up of 51 countries, only 28 of which are signed up to the European Union. The name cleverly suggests that it's all of Europe. It is not. It's a union of 28 countries run by an unelected dictatorship calling itself the European Commission. And that Commission has granted itself powers it had no democratic right to exercise. By the Commission's own decree, EU law supersedes our own. The right of habeas corpus no longer applies, and 900 years of British justice has been thrown away. The Commission has granted itself its own passport, flag, diplomatic corps and police force, and is preparing for an EU army. It has a deeply flawed currency, which by 2020 we shall be forced to join if we remain in. 70% of our laws are now made in Brussels, and Parliament just transposes EU directives into British law in a bid to fool the electorate that it's still in control. There are many who feel we should remain in the EU, duped by the political propaganda that we shall somehow lose influence. We have no influence. The UK has voted no at the Council of Ministers 23 times and lost 23 times. An EU annual communications budget of 500 million is allocated to be spent on influencing trade unions, think tanks, universities and so on. And over 2 billion is given to NGOs like the CBI, UCL, Universities UK, One World Action and so on. Oh, and Cameron quietly played that extra demand of just 1.8 billion just a couple of months ago because he had no choice. Many believe the words "remain in" assume a status quo. There is no status quo. The Commission has taken us over by stealth, and it will accelerate into top gear given a mandate to do so. Out of the EU, we can be free to make our own trade deals with the rest of the world, as well as the EU. 162 countries trade with the EU, and only 28 are political members. We are the world's 5th largest economy. We would be open for business and free to take back our empty seat at the World Trade Organization, where we currently leave the room and our fate to the mercy of an EU bureaucrat. Out of the EU, but not out of Europe, of which we are inexorably a part. We can be free to trade with them. We are their biggest customer. Our biggest customers are currently the USA, Australia and Switzerland. We can be free to take back our territorial waters and restart our fishing industry. Our former territorial waters supply 70% of EU fishing, yet we are currently allowed just 13% of it. We can be free from the heavy burden of paying 55 million a day to a corrupt entity unable to sign up its own accounts for 20 years, who give us a small part back, on the condition that we advertise their largesse with billboards announcing that these enterprises, universities or farms are somehow EU projects. We can be free from useless EU directives on renewable energy, which have caused the collapse of our steel industry and will see the lights go out before too long. Only last Wednesday, power companies put in panic calls to industry to cut back, lest the whole country blacked out. But best of all, we can remain a European country, free of the EU, with our drawbridge down, because we shall have the freedom to control who walks over it.